Are you serious? Are you serious? Well, I am very serious. I thought I was done hearing the name Muammar Gaddafi, the 40-year dictator of Libya, the strong man. And after he was destroyed and in October, I believe it was, of 2011, during the Arab Spring, Libya has just done nothing but just swallow in terrorist rebels and chaos. Well, there's a new man in Libya, and it is Muammar Gaddafi's son. He is somehow out of prison and he is running for president of Libya next month, and there is many that believe he will win because there's been no security, there's been no stability in that country, despite the fact that Muammar Gaddafi was a butcher. This guy's name is Seif al-Islam Gaddafi. I actually wanted to double check his name. Here it is.
Seif al-Islam Gaddafi.
Seif. I said self. Well, he might have a self-interest. Seif al-Islam Gaddafi.
Seif al-Islam Gaddafi. Seif al-Islam Gaddafi.
That's right. Seif al-Islam Gaddafi is now the new man. He may become the new president of Libya. And you talk about, look into his eyes. You talk about a guy that could help bring about Gog and Magog. Now, when you read over in the book of Ezekiel chapter 38, I mentioned it in the last video because of Russia. And we know because of Persia or Iran. And then there's Turkey. And then, of course, Ethiopia. But what about Libya? And you know what? I've been thinking, well, I don't see how Libya gets back into the picture now since nobody's in charge over there. So how does Libya join in on an attack in the Holy Land against Israel? Well, now I can see how. Because according to the Bible, Libya is one of the 5 major countries, plus others, that will make an attack on Israel. And if their new leader becomes Seif al-Islam Gaddafi, you can understand how this would come about. Let me put a shout out right now, if I could, for www.healthwithpaul.com. That's www.healthwithpaul.com. Guys, we're only just discovering the anti-aging power of collagen. Not human collagen. I would never endorse that. But this is plant, egg, and fish collagen. Myself and thousands of others, for example, have already experienced these powers firsthand. But there's a secret. Listen to this. I don't take typical collagen, guys, because I use healthwithpaul.com. That's www.healthwithpaul.com. This special collagen provides 5 key collagen types from 4 unique sources. In short, this blend supercharges the effects that typical collagen would have. The result, firstly, your skin will look and feel younger. I can say that's true. Secondly, your hair and nails will have a more vibrant thickness to them. That is right. And third, I have more energy now than I had in years. Are you serious? So take healthwithpaul.com, www.healthwithpaul.com, made by BioTrust. Your wrinkles will thank you, and they will thank me. Take advantage of this Black Friday deal today. Just go right now to www.healthwithpaul.com. That's www.healthwithpaul.com. All right, guys, here's the deal. So we go to Gog and Magog, and then I'm going to tell you about Seif al-Islam Gaddafi. I'll tell you about Seif in just a moment. But first, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, this is Ezekiel 38, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I'm against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army, and horses, and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company, with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. Persia, that's Iran. Ethiopia, Libya, that's where Seif al-Islam Gaddafi may become the new president, with them and their shields and helmets. Also Gomer, which is the southern Russia, and all of his bands, and the house of Tagarma, which is in southern Turkey in the northern quarters, okay? So there's the list, and now you can see, really can see how Libya could get back into this and become a major part of the invasion of the Holy Land. And very interesting, isn't it? After 10 years after the fall of Muammar Gaddafi, here comes his son, who might be able to capture the presidency of Libya. He's got a lot of money and a lot of power. And the country's been in such so fractured that they're looking for a strong man to lead them. That's all they understand in the Middle East. They don't understand really democracies and voting and all that. They do it, but it don't matter. They understand strong men, Muslim monarchies, strong, powerful, rod of iron. Very possible that he would be that man. Let me tell you a little bit about him. It just came forward out of the Associated Press. In Cairo, Egypt, they were reporting today that the son of the one-time heir apparent of the late Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi has announced yesterday his candidacy for the country's presidency next month, according to reports. Seif al-Islam Gaddafi, who is wanted by the International Criminal Court on charges of crimes against humanity related to the 2011 uprising of the Arab Spring, and submitted his candidacy papers in the southern town of Sabha, which is 650 kilometers south of the capital of Tripoli, and the High National Elections Commission said in a statement. Now, Gaddafi's son was captured by fighters in the town of Zentan back in late 2011, the year when a popular uprising of the Arab Spring, backed by a NATO, toppled his father after more than 40 years as the strong man in power of Libya. Muammar Gaddafi was killed, of course, in October of 2011 amid the ensuing fighting that would turn into a civil war. But in a video shared by an election official, Seif al-Islam Gaddafi addressed the cameras, saying that God will decide the right path for this country's future. Speaking of Libya, the 49-year-old who earned a PhD degree at London School of Economics wore a traditional Libyan robe, a turban, and spectacles. It was the first time in years that he ever appeared in public. The second-born son to the longtime dictator, he was seen as the reformist face of the Gaddafi regime before the 2011 uprising. He was released in June of 2017 after 5 years in a detention center. This July, he told the New York Times in an exclusive interview that he was considering a run for the country's top office. His candidacy is likely to stir a controversy across a very divided country. And Seif al-Islam Gaddafi is wanted by the International Criminal Courts on charges of crimes against humanity allegedly committed in the first weeks of the 2011 uprising of the Arab Spring. The International Criminal Court spokesman Fadi El Abdullah declined to comment on Seif al-Islam Gaddafi's candidacy. The court doesn't comment on political issues. As for the legal side, there is a pending warrant for his arrest, and that hasn't changed. Now, Gaddafi's son, who has deeply rooted links to the tribes across Libya, is the first major presidential hope for to submit his candidacy. His name recognition alone will bring about likes and dislikes to run for the country's highest post. Also widely expected to announce their bids are also powerful military commanders Khalifa Haftar, which we've talked about him a lot, Parliament Speaker Agila Saleh, and former Interior Minister Fatai Bashaga. Now, Seif al-Islam Gaddafi campaign may focus on the failure of political parties and armed groups to establish a government capable of stabilizing and uniting the fractured country since the 2011 Arab Spring overthrow by President Barack Obama and his Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton and the killing of their father, Muammar Gaddafi. However, he is highly likely to face stiff resistance from armed groups and militants, particularly in the capital of Tripoli and the western town of Misrata. Now, Abdul Rahim El Swahili, a lawmaker from Misrata, voiced his rejection of Seif al-Islam Gaddafi's candidacy, saying that Gaddafi's son should be prosecuted, not running for president. And those who believe in the possibility of Libya returning to an era of dictatorship after all these sacrifices are delusional, he wrote on Facebook. Or is it Meta? Is it Facebook or Meta? A group of elders and militant leaders in the western towns have also announced their rejection of the candidacy of Seif al-Islam Gaddafi and General Haider, warning about the return of another civil war. Well, you might say, Paul, why are you worried about Gog and Magog when this is really an internal struggle for power in Libya? Exactly. Because Libya does play a major role in the Gog and Magog war. They're mentioned as one of the Fab Five that attack Israel and invade the Holy Land. So we're going to watch this very closely. Somebody has to be the leader. Will it be Gaddafi's son? And will this mean a total change in the whole? This is why. Thank you, beautiful story. You guess what? We named this upcoming webinar "Armies of the Antichrist." That's going to be available for you December 3rd and 4th, and for 90 days starting December 3rd. Get your tickets right now. There's the link. Get your ticket right now. We just got another speaker signed last night, Pastor Mark Biltz. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, guys. Are you serious? Mark Biltz is also now a speaker in this webinar, and we're still not done. Listen to the names. Lieutenant General retired William Jerry Boykin. I would think he would know something about the armies of the Antichrist. The late Dr. Irvin Baxter's son-in-law, Pastor Dave Robbins of End Time Ministries, is going to be speaking. Also, the screenwriter and director of the movie Interview with the Antichrist, Tim Che, is with us in this webinar. And Lieutenant Colonel David Giamona is going to be speaking, along with Troy Anderson, Pulitzer Prize nominee Troy Anderson, and writer of, he and David Giamona wrote the Military Guide to Armageddon, and it is a #1 bestseller. Also, the Vatican's Archbishop Athanasius Schneider gives an incredible interview on the 4 characteristics of the Antichrist, the demon spirit of it all, and he also challenges Pope Francis. And then there is Mike from around the world and Pastor Mark Biltz bringing about Pastor Paul Begley on my message on the 10 Kings of Revelation. Bart Begley has a film for us, which is fascinating. Rex Bear will give his take on this incredible situation developing. He has great insight from the hieroglyphics and glyphs and information on the rise of the armies of the Antichrist. And we're still not done getting the lineup. Steve Quayle, if he's physically able. All of this, and even maybe more, in the greatest collection of speakers on this topic or any topic ever assembled. The webinar is called Armies of the Antichrist. Get your ticket right now. And there's somebody saying, Leonard Kennedy says, I have that book, The Military Guide to Armageddon. I haven't finished it, but it is very good so far. Exactly. So, I mean, I'm telling you. And the interview I did with those guys, I've already filmed it and it's ready to go. Incredible. Incredible. So, wow, what a lineup. I don't know what to say other than the armies of the Antichrist are gathering. And if you throw in Seif, if you throw in Seif al-Islam Gaddafi, what? That's right.
Seif al-Islam Gaddafi.
You put him in the mix.
Seif al-Islam Gaddafi. Seif al-Islam Gaddafi.
You put him in the mix. Seif al-Islam Gaddafi. He takes, if he wins this election or somehow strong arms his way into power, and over the next couple of years gets that nation where it wants to, where he wants it to be, he will be absolutely in position to team up with the Iranians, Erdogan in Turkey, Putin in Russia, and whoever becomes the leader of Ethiopia. They got one, but as that is shaping up, all of these are will be building part of the armies of the Antichrist. So keep your eye on all of this coming up very soon. Get your tickets there. I can see Beautiful Stories got a link for you. Get your tickets now. Get your tickets now. Don't forget, guys, if you haven't got your silver, Heidi said to make sure I tell you about it, go to my website at paulbegleyprophecy.com. paulbegleyprophecy.com. Get your silver immune support liquid silver. It is amazing. Don't forget, if you get a scratchy throat or feel like a cough is coming on, don't mess around. Get the silver lozenges with the Manuka honey at my website. Any kind of laceration, burns, minor cuts, anything like that, get the silver gel, wound gel. Beautiful soothing action there. What a way to heal. And the silver toothpaste. No fluoride, but silver, nano silver, and a wintergreen taste. Get these 4 items. Go right now to my website. Make sure you're ready to get through this winter with your silver. All right? Guys, get your tickets now. We're in the last days. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. The prophecy is jumping off the pages. And I'll be back in a few minutes with more right here on the coming apocalypse.